Hello, 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 everybody. Mike Arnold here, co-founder, Path Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino, who I'm waiting for patiently. How is everyone doing? How is everyone doing today? Let me just expand the screen so we can see it a little better. Pretty much mixed day, waiting for Bob to jump on because I have a question for him since he does Fed speak a lot better than me. Pretty much mixed day. Looks like it was just it's trying to put in a longer term or at least a bottom for tomorrow. So we shall see how it's going. Let's see. Hey, Waka Waka. There's the gosh darn they kept it at 12K and 4K. Who's the they? Who's the they? Who is they? How can I look up they or them? Wonder what will happen tomorrow now that we have expiration. Dump right down. Well, then you wouldn't be able to pin it if it dumped. I mean, if you dumped it, you wouldn't be able to pin it. So we'll see. I mean, it's 38.96. Watching for this potential bottoming pattern right here. What's interesting is there might be a very aggressive buy signal on a close above today's low. Here we go. Here's Bob. Here we go. Let me bring on Bob in 1 minute because I got a very important question for him. He's got to prepare for. He's got to prepare for it. I haven't let him know what the question is, though, so he can't really prepare for it. So, boy, I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. Neil Cash and Carry got me all flustered. So that's my problem. That's my question for Bob. I just alluded to it. Now I can't find anything. By the way, if you are new here, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button. Even though I've completely messed up the live stream, still, because I'm going to bring on Bob, you should still subscribe. And here he is. Hey, Bob.
What's up, guys?
I got a question. I'm flummoxed.
You're flummoxed?
I'm flummoxed, actually. I could be flummoxed, too, but I'm really flummoxed.
I don't know that that's a thing.
Well,
Flummoxed.
for me it is.
Okay, good.
You know, I don't follow the traditional rules.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit ago, approximately 30 minutes ago, someone rolled across my little ticker thing. The Feds.
Are you asking if I personally know Neil Kashkari?
No, but I want you to, since you can interpret Fed speak for me.
Shoot.
Feds cash and carry. We are removing accommodation even faster than we added it at the start of the COVID pandemic.
I don't know if that's accurate.
So I just need to all right, because you know they did cut. So what do you think he's referring to? Because I'm looking here at their total assets. And here's, I mean, maybe if they're talking this little window in February, because this is their balance sheet, and this is where we stand now. What am I? All right, and if we're talking rate cuts, didn't they cut by 100 basis points, pretty much?
Yeah. So no, they're not doing that.
I'm just trying to figure this out.
Here's the translation. He's not being entirely truthful. I think he's saying on a relative basis because of the absolute size of the asset, the balance sheet, and the absolute size of the monetary easing. Stopping it abruptly like this to him seems like they're doing quick. It's not. They're not. Not at all. Not even close. Nor do I think they should.
No, I was just wondering how that played. Since you are the master interpreter of Fed speak, I was just wondering what I was missing there.
No, you're not missing anything. I don't know where he gets that. Sometimes they just say things. I'm going to say that he was speaking in tongues and it can't really be explained.
Okay. All right. Just making sure that I'm on the same page as you.
I do want to point
out. Look
at
this. And look at what just happened. On the same page as you, Safari can't open the page. Look,
Okay, so that's the NSA coming after you for calling out Neil Kashkari.
it is.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
I mean, look, we're a beige. We're now beige. It was beige page Thursday, which has stayed in. Uh, what about? Did you see the Philly Fed this morning?
I did.
That was quite a drop.
Yeah.
Anything else jump out at you today with it?
Well, honestly, the dollar jumped out at me today.
The dollar jumped down.
Well, yeah, it had its worst day on a percentage basis since March of 2020,
It was
which
down 107 basis points so far. This is in talked about this morning, watching for the bigger pullback and weekly rotation zone coming in quick.
I mean, that's the worst single down day since March. I think it's March. It might be May, but since the middle of 2020, let's just say, the worst single drop. So, and we're now down 3 of 4. And I'm trying to figure out, and I don't really have a good answer other than how fast rates backed up. That it could just be people getting out of positions because the the euro was up back above 105, getting close to 106 again on the euro. I mean, the euro now has 2 days where it rallied over 1% in the last 5. That's pretty good performance, and I don't see any strength coming from the ECB. And we even have the yen have 2 days where 2 days in the last, let's say, 6 days, where it fell more than 80 basis points, or where the dollar fell again. The yen increased more than 80 basis points against the dollar in the last 6 or 7 sessions. And we have the same thing, same type of behavior in the British pound, where the pound today was up over 1%. 2 days ago, it was up over 1%, actually 1.39% 2 days ago. So in the last 5 sessions. So these are not small moves by any stretch. And what it means to me is that the recession narrative is taking hold. It's definitely taking hold in the markets. It's not flight to quality with the dollar collapsing. So the recession narrative is taking hold as well. I think it should. I heard 2 different analysts today say that they can't get to a recession with jobs numbers as strong as they are. But jobs numbers lag, man. They lag easily 6 months.
I was going to just say they lag big time. I mean,
And
by the time you really see a rollover, because jobs generally they start easing, and then you get the back and forth, and then they roll over. But by the time you really digest all the numbers and all the revisions, it's like backwards looking.
Right. And it's interesting because when you look at jobs as sort of whether it's a recession indicator or not, you can't. So this one, his name was Alessandro something. I don't remember his full name, but he said he can't get to a recession. And if you tried to position for a recession early, it can really hurt. Okay, that makes sense to me. It's way too early to position your portfolio for a recession, but certainly not too early to say one's coming by any stretch.
I think we've already positioned our portfolio for a recession based off all the stops being hit.
Yeah, definitely we're out of positions.
I mean, I think because once they announce, you know what will happen. Once we're officially once they say the recession's hit, it's probably close to the bottom, if not already happened.
Yeah.
Because they're always 6 months behind.
Right.
And the market's forward looking by the nature of the market. So, hey, Wavy, for once they didn't kill the market. Again, they didn't do it today, Bob. They didn't.
Wavy's always out there blaming somebody.
Well, no. Well, hey, we had Waka Waka. Look, they kept it at 12K and 4K. Well, they kept it below 4K.
I wish they would call me.
Can you, hey guys, can you put me in charge or in touch with Dave, because we could work something out. That's the new system. Just put me in charge with they, and then I'll relay the information I think is appropriate.
What does NFA mean? in this particular context.
Where are you?
Maybe.
Where? You're probably way ahead of me. I'm way
Probably.
behind on the comments.
Well, I don't. I mean, from when you let me in here, I've only got Waka Waka and Wavy.
When I
Waka
let
Waka.
you in here, what?
Yeah. So, because I don't get all the chats before that. Actually, I should say when I joined, but
Yeah,
I don't get the comments
I
before
think
that.
you still get them when you're in the waiting room.
But it's the no, I don't.
You
But
don't?
it's the no. As soon as when the countdown starts, as soon as I'm in, I get them. But I don't get them in the waiting room.
Well,
But
all right. Future stuff. If you want comments for Bob, wait till Bob appears.
see where Waka Waka has all those LOL,
Yeah.
See that one? Right behind that. Right after that one.
Guys, just want to let you know I follow proprietary algo that looks at flow dark pool data, and they gave a signal for a big sell to occur below 38.50 in the next few days. Not financial advice.
No, of course. Oh, that's what. Not financial advice.
So he's saying, you know what? Again, just like we say, we can't give specific trading advice
Yeah,
or.
I appreciate
So
that, Wavy. Thanks for
he's
that.
saying, yeah, which is very. I appreciate when you do that because that's just information he's passing along from
Yeah,
somebody else. So there we go.
thanks for that, Wavy.
So, all right. Where else do we stand? What questions do we have for Bob? Since let's see. Well, real quick. Hey, Ken. Hey, on it. Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated. The Fed speaks throws me for a loop. Potential bottoming pattern for short term only. Well, I have a potential bottoming pattern for tomorrow, which could be eradicated tonight. But other than that, the only medium term one I have is if this double triggered. That would be more of a medium term because it might take a few days to get back to 42.87. Short term is only for, yes, I do have a buy on above today's high, an aggressive front run buy above today's high. Now, that could be eradicated again with overnight price action or off the open tomorrow. Any of these could be because they have not triggered yet. So, where else do we stand now? Let me get back to where we are. DX, yeah, I was mapping out that dollar index 4 hour head and shoulders. It's a slightly sloppy because you got it's sort of a hunchback shoulder like a tilted shoulder situation. But
Yeah,
here's your targets are 102.35, 101.81, 101.29. Look, the bottom target takes you right back to the 50 exponential and into that weekly rotation zone. I updated the harmonics with this lower little move. If we go from this move, though, that takes us right back to the 50 essentially. So that's going to be an interesting little target. So definitely, and as I was talking, I was watching for a longer term topping pattern in the dollar, and we probably have it in place now. Where do we sit? Waka Waka. Dollar index tanking. Everyone in FX is getting out of dollars into other currency. Basically, the dollar has lost its pegging as safe haven. I don't know if it's lost its pegging as safe haven. It might be a rotation. I mean, the dollar's been on a tear for a lot, so this might be just a rotation move. For it to say
Also, let's put it this way: it's not a safe haven if the recession narrative is taking hold.
yeah, but all right, are we talking short?
You don't need safety. You need to be in cash. And in
Correct,
essence,
but a safe. Well, all right, I was thinking safe haven like the dollar reserve status safe haven,
yeah, agree with you, Mike.
not the dollar. We're getting out of it because of recessionary fears in the medium term.
Right.
That would be a whole different story. If it was all right, the dollar's no longer a safe haven at all because it's going to reserve real. Boy, brain not working. If it's going to lose its reserve status, then that's a bigger issue. And where would everybody go? What would you see like gold pop higher? What would you if it was
Look at this? Yes. So
the
look at it this
demise
way.
of the dollar?
If my theory is that they're getting out of the dollar because you're not going to have an aggressive Fed in a recession, right? So then you won't have aggressively higher rates and you won't have a shortage of dollars. So more supply, lower prices. And if that's the case, what do they go into? Well, they go into their own currencies where you may not have an aggressive recession call. When you look, for example, at Canada's GDP, it was positive. Mexico's was positive. China's was positive. Russia's was positive. Um, we're the only ones of the major and some of the major developing economies that had negative GDP. So we are ahead of everyone in the economic cycle. So if the economic cycle now turns toward recession, it would happen in the US first, and you would get out of US dollar and go into other currencies if FX is what you were trading. And that's likely where the massive outflows are coming from. It's not about moving, in my opinion, it's not about moving out of safe haven. It's about moving out of the currency that's going to go down when the central bank, who didn't necessarily take the lead in rate hikes, the UK did, and Canada did, and Australia did. Now, if they're already starting to talk about backing off, which Kashkari did, by the way, then yeah, you would get out of there. It would lose its sort of global safe haven short term as the only responsible Federal Reserve, which it's not anymore if the recession takes hold. So it's 2 or 3 steps down the road. But given the run that the dollar made, you can explain the short term rotation Mike is talking about with the recession narrative taking hold. Like, why would there be a short term recession rotation now? Well, because the recession narrative might be taking hold. But that doesn't mean that the dollar, like, I still think you need to be long the dollar, just lower than this.
Bob, where do you see crude going in the near future? Do you think it will stay above 100?
Yes, I see crude higher. I definitely see crude higher. But I don't have a signal to go long it. Now, maybe the test at the middle of this channel could have been, for some people, a signal to go long it. But I think the middle of this channel, I think, this particular candle, the rotation zone, which admittedly is flat, it's not angled, so it's not as strong, definitely has kind of held sway through a lot of these moves. When you get a wick like that, you're likely to see a move back to the top of the channel. And I just happen to think fundamentally the breakout's going to be up. So,
and you guys, we're still holding the weekly rotation zone. Let me look at this. Tap.
That's a good
Tap.
rotation zone.
Huh?
Yeah, that's a good rotation zone.
I mean, and you're making higher lows.
Right.
So it does favor an upside breakout. And as I've said, from my perspective, once we get the close, statistically, once we get the close above 116.41, it favors a retest this high area, statistically.
Yeah. I called my target today on one of my TV. I had 3 TV appearances today. One of them I called 138 as my target.
138.
Yeah.
I'm at 139.01. 139.01 would be the first target.
Yeah. So I remember that from a couple days back, but I thought it was a little lower than that. But I still wouldn't call 139 just because of the round number phenomenon. I would still go short of that in a public conversation. So I probably should have said 138.75, which is probably, if I were in a trade, where I'd be looking for. If Mike has a target of 139, I'd be looking for about 138.75.
Yeah, and as I said, I generally go to like 138.90 somewhere.
Yeah, the round number phenomenon does fail like that every once in a while.
So that's where. Oh, let's see. Ahmet, welcome, Bob. Since late March to now, seems like the market is coming to the realization that the Fed is worried about inflation and will really need to fight it. Yet, chance they will back off a little to see if the effects of what they have done so far.
Yes. So, Amit, you and I've talked about it in I don't know how many of these last few live streams. But my theory, Amit, is that they do the 3 that they keep talking about simply almost for credibility's sake more than anything. They do the 3 that they're talking about. So 50 more in June, 50 more in July. I think we'll start to see some Fed talk of pausing after July before July happens. And I think that's when we start to get that medium term bottom that I'm looking for. Because I mean, there's a handful of things I've talked about. You can watch a recording, I think, of the last one where I talk about the increase in government debt and the problem with us servicing that debt at higher rates. But I also think a recession is inevitable, and I think the data is going to start pointing to it over the next month and a half, 2 months, more and more strongly, and the Fed won't have the political will to continue. So I am now of the opinion, I'm saying this publicly here first, it's these 350 basis point rate hikes, and that's it. So 2 more. And then they're going to stop. Pause, I should say. And they're going to use the excuse that now the supply chain needs to take care of the rest of the inflation problem. They'll start blaming the supply chain and everything else. That's my stance.
And what if the supply chain gets sorted out and it's still running 6% inflation?
I think the supply chain is a years long fix. I don't think it's 9 months.
Yeah, but
I
they
think
could
it's a
still.
years long fix, but it gives the Fed an opportunity for the NASDAQ, for Bitcoin, for gold to kind of rally up again, and then allows them. So, what is it like? I can't think of a good example, but you know what it's like when the ancient Romans would celebrate and they would gorge and gorge and gorge and then go to the vomit trough in order to come back and gorge again. But it's backwards of that. So basically, the market needs to gorge again in order for it to throw up again. And I think after that July rate hike, the Fed's going to give the market an opportunity to engorge itself again so that it can throw up again when the Fed adds more rate hikes after that. So that's what they have to do it in stages like that, or it's going to be a 3-year bear market. Well, 2-year bear market if they don't. And they don't have the political will. They don't have the political strength to do that, especially going into midterms. I mean, especially going into midterms. Can you imagine if the S&P is down at 2,800 and where would that put the NASDAQ around, Mike? Probably around below 10,000. And inflation still isn't under control. We've got the midterms. Oh my God.
All right. If the S&P was trading 2,800,
Yeah.
that's roughly a 41% drop from the highs. So
that probably equates to about 52% in the.
Yeah, but let's just go with the same percentage, roughly.
Fine, fair enough.
Just to and I think the NASDAQ would overshoot. When would I say it was a 41%?
48.
I said 48. Ooh.
I thought you did, but I could be wrong.
Well, 41, I forgot what I said. A 41 would take the NASDAQ to about 9,800. Let's just go there. 48 would take it to 8,600. So that would be brutal.
Yeah, but again, 78%.
Yep.
From 99 to 2002.
And look at that's a wide target, Waka Waka. 6,000 and 9,000.
My target is somewhere between 12,000 and 1,000.
Can I bid 99 cents?
What's up, Lauren? How are you, Lauren?
How you doing? Again, Lauren with the super chat. Better day tomorrow. Sounds like a Goo Goo Dolls song. Better days. I'm gonna
get you guys to open some small.
Well, Davey's gonna be sick. Waka Waka's going back to 1969. Cash and carry keeps talking, and the Fed has credibility because the bond and stock markets are adjusting. Well,
cash and carry actually said this 10 days ago, guys. Was it 10 days ago? 6 days ago.
I'm just done.
I'm sorry, 2 days ago. Cash carry.
How high rates
need to go depends on supply side. So he's already setting up to blame the supply chain. Already setting up to blame it.
So, are they ever going to take responsibility for all the stimulus they injected and ever go, maybe we shouldn't have done that much?
Ask Aaron on Twitter.
Don't start with me. It's still going, even though you muted it.
No, I didn't respond anymore. I don't know if it's still
I
going or
know
not.
it's still going.
I muted it. I'm
I
done.
know. Uh, if we make it through these next few months, we will have a buying opportunity like no other. What do you mean if we make it?
Yeah, we'll make it.
We'll make
We're
it.
gonna live.
I mean,
We're
unless
gonna
the
live
world's going
in
to end,
spot.
we're going to make it. So, oh, I don't know. My head's just going to explode. Oh boy, you guys are just boy. We have everybody bearish, but we have some potential doubles in the market, Bob.
Yeah,
Long
we
way
do.
out from triggering,
We do.
but you gotta watch the pattern just in case. In
Yep.
case we don't tank. They don't if they don't tank it tomorrow. And remember, the pin for S&P cash is 4,000 for both the call and the put level. Life is not promised to no man. Boy, we're positive. Yes, that is true. Be grateful for what you have today. Very true. What did he say? He said we made a mistake and took it a bit far, but is what it is. Fed doesn't give a damn. Fantastic. So, what other questions do we have for Bob? The vomit trough sounds like a franchise fast food concept. Can we?
Believe it or not, that's making me hungry to talk about that stuff.
Can we? I wish it was still the old good old SPAC days. We could SPAC it.
I'm surprised Chamath has not spacked it.
Have you heard much from him recently? Since all his SPACs are,
He's been so quiet.
I know. Since all his SPACs are in the crapper.
Been so quiet.
So what other question? Anything else for Bob before I get through levels? Because we had some more unwinding today. Quick question. What do you see? I mean, Walmart still diving.
Oh, that's brutal.
Look at that chart. But I'm still watching the PE even on bounces to get more in line. Target still dropping and close below the 62.5. So we have even on bounces more downside for that one. Have you been looking at Costco?
No, I haven't looked at it.
Here's Costco because they're going to raise the price in their dollar hot dog. Their $1.49 hot dog that's been in place for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And look at Costco.
There was a New York Post article about $34 chicken wings. A plate of chicken wings at a restaurant outside of New York has now gone up from 13. It was $13.95, 17, now 26. Now it's going up to $34.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not coming at this from a politically motivated standpoint, but is the Biden administration going to release the 4th of July costs this year? Like last year, they said there was a 17-cent savings or whatever it was.
I'm just hoping that they that's ridiculous. I'm just hoping they release the strategic chicken wing reserves so we don't have to pay $34 for chicken wings.
That's expensive.
Yeah. Strategic chicken wing reserve, I think, is up to 6 million chicken wings. They should release from that.
Yeah, they should. By the way, Twitter announced just before the close of the they said they were going to still pursue it and, I guess, enforce it to best of their ability. Where'd Twitter end up? Huh? Still sitting at that second target from the double. Didn't look at it today. All right, anything else for Bob? It's a quiet news day tomorrow, too, so it's really just option expiration. And earnings, John Deere's about the only big one tomorrow, but it's not really going to move the market. Applied Materials came in. I know they missed because they were down a lot lower, but have bounced back. So Applied Materials still Still bearish on that. Wow, here in UK, burger meal last year cost £3. Today, $7.50. Oh,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, it's around here. It's just horrible, the stuff that the jacked up prices. It's ridiculous. Open the Keystone XL pipeline. Didn't that get canceled? So, all right, nothing else for Bob. Then I'm going to let Bob go. We'll cover what I'm keeping an eye on, and we'll prepare for tomorrow, unless I see something pop up real quick.
All right, guys.
So,
Cheers.
all right, I'll talk to you tomorrow, or to everybody else. There we go. Yeah, inflation, 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 inflation. All right. Remember, none of these have to trigger. I'm just giving you because I got to give both sides of the market today. You know, nice little back and forth day. Finally coming up, hitting in the rotation zone. Still watching tomorrow. We've got this little flag pattern, at least in the S&P, which might be broken with the overnight price action. If we rally up, I'm just watching the top, the 50 on the 1 hour, about 39.50. You know, it'll be interesting to see if we hold up tomorrow morning because we could still easily pin or get close to that 4K. We could easily get close to that 4K, which would be really interesting. Now, this is a flag pattern, and you got 1 hour rolling over. So that's why I'm really watching to price action. If this did come down again, it would not invalidate the double on the daily basis. So this could come down again, retest these lows overnight with the flag pattern, and then set up another potential double. If we break below the lows, though, if we break below the lows, the next key levels I'm watching is about 38.20, 37.95, 37.58 are the lows to the downside. This will just be very tactical overnight. Again, based off daily, if we do close above, this would be super aggressive because you are against the daily rotation zone, but it would have to wait to trigger with tomorrow's close. You just see there's nothing on the 4 hours. So we'll be watching very closely where it closes tomorrow. NASDAQ, still potential daily double in place. NASDAQ, we got the flag pattern. I might have to expand it just a bit. That was closed right at the end. Where I'll be watching overnight is about 12,065, and then we get above there. Roughly on the 1 hour, I'm going to about 12,150. If we drop back down, you'd have a still potential double on the 4 hour that would not invalidate the daily double, which is still a long way off. Don't get me wrong, just because these potential doubles, they never have to trigger. If we flush below today's low and the low from the 12th of May, minor is, let me just make sure, 11,576, 11,462 are your minor levels. Your more significant major level, if we took a bigger dump, would be, and you see that cluster right there, 11,222. So that's it. It's really just going to be tactful trading tonight. The Dow, there was a great trade, a little great trade today in the Dow, with this nice little double setup on the 15-minute that triggered, ran up to the full target, and then now it's flag pattern also on the Dow. So if that comes down, there is no 1 hour double, just to keep that in mind. There could be if it runs up a little more and then rolls a potential 4 hour, but there's still the daily double on there. If we break down at this point with the Dow, 30,788 to 37,788. Then major cluster, 30,438 to 30,521 if we do crap out and push lower. So we also have a little divergence set up on the Dow and a buy on tomorrow's close, aggressive buy above on a close above today's high. we can just peek at the Russell this morning. We already talked about crude coming up here. Not much I'm doing just yet with crude. Need to show some more strength, and with option expiration, I'm just going to make sure the 108.20 area holds. Gold was a really nice area today, coming up to hit that harmonic. Now I'm watching for a slight little pullback in this area, and then going to judge the strength, and then I'll get a little more aggressive on gold and silver again. So your silver harmonics. Problem is silver triggered a longer term sell. But my big problem with the gold and silver markets, and I've said this before, is I've always watched the physical, because the physical's held up quite well. The physical did not sell off. And the futures are not fit. You cannot get them physically settled. That's why you can get these stupid moves like this, where if they were physically settled, this would have been a very different move. So that's my only caveat. That's why I still watch the physical. Notes coming up here, pulling back a little into the open. I'm still watching for the potential long-term bottoming pattern being in place. We're still chipping away at that weekly rotation zone. Let's see. For this SPY, I covered I was talking futures, but the SPX is really the pin at 4K. Max Payne from Davey, and again, this is from Davey. I'd have to verify it, but I'm sure he's correct, is around 414. So we will keep an eye on that tomorrow with this, and the double still is in play with the longer term with the SPY. 414, that would be a very strong move. So I don't think they can make it there with the SPY unless we really get a rally. But I believe that would definitely take the cash above 4K. Let's see. Fed speak after 28 years working for them. We were planning on increasing our budget 50%, but we only increased it 25%. That means we cut 25%. Think of it that way. All right. So they were planning on something. So that's like me saying I was planning on spending $100, but I only spent $50. Okay. Oh boy. Oh, my head explodes. Can't anybody just be straightforward? Yeah, you do have a little cup and handle pattern if you break about. I mean, it's holding out of the rotation zone. So as long as the 62.5 level holds, 175.42, yeah. Again, I'm watching for a longer-term basing pattern in this, so we might have some way to chew through. And as long as we might have short-term in place, as long as this key level holds right here, I'd just be targeting the most recent highs at this level to especially take some off the table and move up a stop. And then my next key area I'm keying off of is about 204. ZM put for next week. Yeah, they're going to do that. But Netflix, I know Netflix they're laying off, but you still have, it's trying to get a bottoming pattern in here. It's already gone through a lot of pain. Can it go lower? Yeah, I'm just watching for a bottoming pattern, and if the market does rally, I'm expecting us to go up and test the other side of the daily rotation zone, and possibly if it gets a little more rally on, we're going to reconnect with the weekly, and then I'm watching to see on the next rollover play. Again, this is if this thing gets really hammered, it's going to be a takeover candidate still. End phase had a 937 point move up today. Yeah, I mean, no, it's still nothing. The only way you can get short-term bullish, there's probably the 200s in the way right there. It filled the gap yesterday. It's still no close above the 62.5. I really don't have a lot of stuff. Daily cycles at the top, weekly cycles turning up in the middle of consolidation. Back into this consolidation phase, I'd only say if it gets to close above the 62.5, I'd favor the higher prices of return to this last little swing high. And then you'd have to expand the range and then target. There's nothing. I mean, this is just very short term for me. If I was going to do anything in here, you have a little ascending channel. This is when I see a chart like this, I generally step aside because I'll find something easier to trade. This is just mixed. So I really don't have much of a comment besides watch for that daily close above the 62.5 because statistically then it would favor some higher prices. Other than that, this is too many jumbled. Weekly cycles turning up, daily cycles might be turning down in consolidation still. That's a challenging chart to trade, especially in this market environment. 1 hour, you got this sort of ascending channel. I really don't have much for that one. I mean, if it pulls back, I'd just watch for this 50% level to hold right around this with this breakout zone. And then you get the rotation back up. I'd be focused on that close above the 62.5 on the daily. So, all right. I don't know. It could be one of the bigger techs like Google or Apple. If it gets to enough of a bargain price, you start getting PEs still down around 10, 11 if it pushes lower. You could see it scooped up by somebody who's sitting on some cash still. Just because the subscriber base, even though it's having some trouble, pick up the subscriber base and roll it into your own offerings, it could be an interesting play. At these prices, it was never an interesting play at a lot higher prices, but this gets interesting. Now the PE is still, I think, a little high, and earnings could be coming down. So that's why I want to see how it reacts after the next little run-up. And I don't think it's cheap enough for an acquisition at the price it is now. But longer term, if we do roll over, and especially if we get another major smackdown, or when we get the next major smackdown in the NASDAQ, and if the Netflix rolls over decently again, and gets beat down for long enough, we could eventually see an acquisition play. UPST, then I'm going to call it a day. I was on here a long day yesterday. UPST. Gap fill and daily double bottom. Are you talking these two bottoms? Because that's not a double bottom. I don't have a double bottom pattern here. I don't have anywhere close to a double bottom pattern here. And for the gap play, I wouldn't be focusing on it yet because you're still against the rotation zone. You haven't got the close on the daily above that 62.5. Yeah, Amazon could do it. Disney could do it. I don't think I don't know if Disney would go after it, but Amazon definitely could if they wanted to even expand their catalog more. Google to get in the streaming service, but honestly, would they want to? Well, they could expand. They could roll it into their YouTube TV stuff, theoretically, where they do all their live streaming, and they could have the back catalog and roll in some Netflix stuff. That could be a play too. Don't know. I don't think we're there yet, but at some point, it gets attractive enough. You could even with a reduced subscriber base, not everything's going to drop off of Netflix. So you got some interesting stuff out there. That's for longer term. That's what I'm keeping an eye on. All right. With that, I'm running out of energy. It's been a long week and I got to get some stuff done. So I will talk to everyone tomorrow. Again, it's going to be interesting. We'll have more information by the morning just with how Asia and Europe trades. And if we have any then really majorly solid patterns to go in tomorrow morning with option expiration. But we'll probably see some pretty significant volatility tomorrow. With that, I will be back for 8 a.m. Central Time and let you know what I'm seeing. Thanks for all the chat back and forth. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Waka Waka. Thank you, Rich, Amit, Daniel. Let's see, Davey. Who else I missed? Danny, Jake. I feel like Mr. Romper Stomper Bomper Boo. Waka Waka, Lauren. Again, big shout out to Lauren for the chat, the super chat. Thank you so much. So with that, I will talk to everyone later. Have a wonderful evening. Bye for now.